Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that has just broken in the Division 2's community, and I don't see many people talking about this, even though this has been around for about a week, and I think it's a shame. I'm not afraid to shy away from the hard topics in this community. I can understand that I disagree with a lot of people. Even some content creators disagree with me on my stance on the Division 2. But at the same time, whenever something interesting shows up in the community, I want to always highlight that. And today, a YouTuber, Mark of Blades, basically has released a second variation of a particular build that basically can absorb a bunch of damage. And it's interesting because I don't know how to say this because, we already have the armor system that feels kind of busted and broken, but then he's able to make this build using systems within the game that have been right under our nose in order for him to be able to mitigate damage from elite NPCs, rogues, legendary versions of all these enemy NPCs. By the way, I'm not talking just heroic. I'm talking the first build he made was heroic, and I saw it and I was like, this is interesting. And then he made a legendary version and he's literally standing in front of a Changa. I encourage you, if at any rate, at any point you want to stop listening to my yapping, to go ahead and watch that video, because it's a shame that that video doesn't have over 100,000 views. What are we doing in the community? Because we have a narrative, and this is me about to get all preachy, but we have a narrative in this community where for the longest time we've moved ahead with the misconception that the enemy NPCs hit too hard and we have no way to mitigate the damage that they're actually dealing. Now, for the red and the purple enemy NPCs, I think there might be a case for that, but also there could also be a case against that. But with the enemy NPCs that are the elites, we have protection from elites, which has always been in the game for a while. Now, I have to admit, when I first tried protection from elites, it did not resonate at the in the former patches. But it seems like in this patch, something has taken a turn where protection from elites, or maybe it's just always been there and we've kind of thrown it aside, is basically a very viable aspect of the entire game currently, and it's not even meta, if you get what I mean. So for the longest time, everyone has pursued and chased down the metas and have abandoned some of the viable things that are here. And so, like I said, it really is a shame that this video is not getting more exposure than it should be. This video should be pinned, in my opinion, on every single forum or on Reddit or wherever it is that people talk about damage mitigation or damage not mitigation in the Division 2. And I think another aspect too is just, whenever we hear these narratives, oh, enemy NPC damage scaling is off, we need to sometimes come back and look and understand that the Division is kind of a game that you can approach with a scientific process. I can guarantee you that when this content creator, he's been in the community forever, by the way, since Division 1, he probably walked around his house thinking, what is protection elites even there for in this game? And he decided, let me see if I can stack the most amount of protection protection to elites. How can I stack the most amount of protection to elites? And as he started answering these questions, he started to find out that you can get a good amount of it. You can basically walk up to almost any elite NPC, if not all of them so far, and basically be smacking them in the face. Even in that video, he wrote that the hunters on the 100th floor in the summit, he was basically messing around with them because that build basically kept him alive. And the build is not even really difficult to even put together, which is even really funny. The investment to put a build like that together, yes, there is some level of, I would say, challenge to be able to gather what you need, but it's not a matter of, say, RNG of you sitting and farming the same missions over and over again. And I don't want to give away too much. If you're even watching this footage that is in front of me, I've basically cut a portion of that build and I've started to slap something together for myself. And you guys know I'm not a build person. In fact, you guys are the ones that I always, talk about your builds, because I understand that in this community we have different mindsets and different directions when it comes to builds. And I'm really surprised that this is something that is within the game. So I don't know. I think it's just been a place where this has gone under the radar for the longest time and misconceptions have been thrown out there, and it's really strange. Now, yes, there's a build that is mitigating elite damage. So what, Gaming Daddy? What about the reds and what about the purples? I'm glad you asked. Well, think about the reds and think about the purples. Their damage mitigation is actually not, in my opinion, that significant, especially when it comes to the reds. Your red enemy NPCs, they can melt very fast if you hit them. I can understand that sometimes bullet registration is really weird in this game, and I think that's another of its own issues more than anything else. But red enemy NPCs, they melt faster in many cases than your elites and than your named enemy NPCs. And then your veteran NPCs do have armor as well. So damage to armor is one way that you can melt them. Damage to health is also available on different aspects that you can actually get. Your assault rifle can deal damage to health and all kinds of other fun stuff. And so I still believe that right now, even though the enemy, NPCs are hitting very hard, I think there has to be basically kind of a trade-off with the way they deal with the armor system, because the armor system doesn't seem to explain why it's in the game. Does that make sense? It doesn't seem to have a reason why it's in the game, because if protection from elites is doing a good job, if damage to armor, damage to health are doing a good job, what is armor force? If armor regen on the player, we the players, if that's doing a good job, then what is armor actually doing? And I think it leaves that question mark. But then at the same time, we've been able to see this new I wouldn't say should I say it's a discovery or this new development in the game. And I think it starts to put a lot of questions as to what else is in this game's design and what can this game's current design be modified by to make things even better and more viable. So I wanted to make this little short commentary pointing you guys to those two videos to go back and look at that. And I know I'm going to get the occasional, but I don't want to build like this, but I don't want to build like that. To be very honest, I don't think that's a conversation that I'm trying to have right now. The conversation that I'm trying to have right now is whether or not you want to build or don't want to build like that. There are systems in the game that are answering questions at the moment. When we get past this, then we can then say, oh, it seems like now our conversation needs to change and this is where our conversation needs to go, rather than making this overarching negative narrative that in this game, enemy NPCs, they hit, too hard and there's no way for us to be able to mitigate the damage. I guess that's where I'm trying to land the conversation, but let's continue in the comment section. I don't want to hold you off any longer. I feel like this is a video worth watching by every single PvE concerned Division player, especially the new crowd who also have expressed concerns that they're not able to play legendary missions. And if it's a matter of farming some of these little items or whatever it is, if you want to fight and say RNG might be a problem, then yes, but it's not a matter of this is not in the game. It's a matter of little aspects of the game that will require a little bit of grind, a little bit of patience, and a little bit of you just opening your eyes, observing and playing the game. And so I'll get out of your hair, but that's it for me. Thank you so much for your time and audience, and hopefully we'll see in another video. Peace.